In this video, we will see an example on how to seed a honey. Seeding a honey is a way to make a delicious creamy honey without having to wait for that the honey starts to crystallize all by itself. The honey that you want to use as seed honey should be finely granulated and with a fairly neutral taste so it doesn't affect the taste of the finished product. Here we're going to seed our late summer honey, and for that purpose we have found 2 jars, about 1 kilo or 35 ounces of our spring honey. That is a honey from mainly canola or rape, rich in glucose and crystals. These jars will function as seed honey, and we start out by giving them a good stir with a duffel to break the crystals in the honey. It can be quite demanding for the mixer to stir up a hard honey, but it will get easier for the machine if you warm up the jars of honey a bit to soften it up a little bit. Just don't melt it. After the stirring, it's important to let the seed honey cool before you mix it with the raw honey. The seed honey and the raw honey should have the same temperature, preferably below 19 degrees Celsius or 66 degrees Fahrenheit. This honey was hard before we started, but now we've produced a giant amount of tiny crystals will function as seeds for new crystals which are about to form in the raw honey. When it's cold, we mix the 1 kilo of seed honey with 5 kilos of raw honey, and we make sure to mix it thoroughly until it's completely uniform. We let this bucket with mixed honey rest for 2 to 3 days to give the crystals time to grow, and then in the second step of our seeding process, we mix the 6 kilos of honey in the bowl with around 20 kilos of raw honey in our bucket. Again, make sure that it's completely uniform in the end. Now, we leave this bucket to rest for 2 to 3 days, and then we are ready to bottle the honey. The length of these periods depends very much on your honey and its composition, and you have to experiment a bit. If your honey has a high glucose concentration, it doesn't need that long, and on the other hand, it will need longer time if you have a honey rich in fructose. By mixing all these glucose crystal nuclei into the raw honey, we boost the crystal growth, and instead of a few larger crystals, we get a large quantity of tiny crystals in the honey, and that makes the honey more creamed, spreadable, and smooth in the mouth. There are many different ways of seeding honey, and you have to find your way that fits with the sugar composition of your honey. In this recipe, we seed in 2 steps, each around 20% seed honey to raw honey. If your result isn't what you hoped for, maybe make a stronger seeding the next time, or leave the honey longer between the steps. And in the end, there's only one thing to say. Write a comment if you have questions, and good luck with your seeding process.